You know, I could have gotten into a hobby like stamp collecting or watching birds, but, I liked video games, so I decided to do video games, and, I thought it was funny to talk about video games. And now I'm talking about Undertale.
Undertale?
Editor Crancios is here.
It's great that you can play this game and
Fight an army of
Furry.
robot spawned Mr. I do what I want because there is no other choice. The better timeline.
This is bad. Like, unusually bad. Like, Marvel vs. Capcom series accidentally paused the game. The start button on the controller. It's the fucking right 3 stick. I can stab the person in playtesting.
And it interrupts the ready, set, go thing. The match just starts as soon as I unpause it. So it's interrupting frame, and I don't know why. Demons are for fuck. Again, the better timeline.
I'm playing with kids right now.
Which is okay, because...
I just beat some kids.
Oops. All politicians. Actors. Epstein. All...
Never mind. Nidhogg's not for pedophiles. Topical joke.
I'm watching you right now, Mr. Mario von Rickenbach.
Fucking dummy is what he is. Stupid.
You piece of shit.
Hey, when does that cafe open up? Because that, pie looked really good.
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I hate myself. Noct. Not recommended. Got an early access review for you all. After all, I like to keep my ears to the streets and, scope out all the best that the internet has to offer, much like the mummifying corpse of a human being, much like the steady career of Dr. Dre. The difference between Potential and Kinetic. Noct is a survival horror game in the basic bitch sense. Like a pumpkin spice latte. Nothing more or less than surviving in a small ghost town with monsters and cataclysmic events going on. The problem is, this game seems to have been worked into a corner. It was initially released in 2015, and that means it's been in a long 5-year early access. The game is set up in a round-like survival, not unlike Call of Duty Zombies, and at the end of each round a cataclysmic event occurs, and before then, players must take shelter. Players are tasked with seizing the means to make a bunker, finding weapons, ammo, and rations. Unfortunately, the rations are nothing more than points, and although the control says you need to drink water, that's not actually part of the game. Yet. After 5 days or rounds of playing, I've only seen giant spiders and worms, horrifying for internet pansies who are still afraid of some of the most useful and important creatures on the planet. Spiders are cute, not scary, normalized spiders, and worms. Let's talk about some lore. Noct has an interesting conceptuality. You don't play as a character, rather a sinister organization or entity observing the last moments of a survivor, giving the survivor certain guidelines along the way. Words appear on the screen as the entity you are observing through gives instructions to the survivor. The survivor themselves will alert the player about being chased by monsters before the player sees them on screen. Thus, since the player is this entity of dubious alignment, you have access to a map of the field which does not pause the game, by the way, which plays into the player's roles, as you are only an observer. The player is essentially only there observing and tracking the living or unliving things on the map, possibly being responsible for the events occurring. I like this meta-analysis a lot. It plays into the top-down perspective that the game takes. Sound plays a visual part in this game, as one can see waves as the creature/players walk on the opposite sides of the walls you stand next to, a way the developer eased the stress of the fog of war that is natural to the game. Based on this official post in the community hub, you'd think that this game has been abandoned. I believe that Devolver Digital wouldn't let one of their subsidiaries down per se, and upon closer look, there appears to be a single developer working on this game. A contracted employee, only representing the game itself. Clever, big business. Crap tactic. Yeah, the game is taking forever because all their hands have been working on carrion. Yeah. Note to self, guillotine reserved for Devolved Digital. The game's single programmer streams regularly on his Twitch, and a quick dive in the community hub will find it for you. Problem is, the game has already been abandoned, as many things with 5 years of delays would. As it were, that is why I can't recommend this game. Sure, big titty goth girlfriends may have daddy issues, but for the most part, I can have the enjoyment of what has been promised to me. This game is dead, so you can't enjoy the main appeal multiplayer survival horror. I think that The Division beat C3SK to the punch and subsequently ruined it. The good and the bad, well, some pros. The music and the sound design can get you pumped. The effects are nice to look at, remind me of AC-130 Enemy Above. It's genuinely fun and it's easy to learn. But the game is dead. The idea of the multiplayer I can only see working in dedicated servers, and after 5 years, there isn't much to this game still. TLDR, I would love this game to be completed, just like I would like to go back in time and not waste 7 years of my life with that lying bitch. But sometimes we have to accept reality for what it is. And in this case, it seems Devolver Digital has purposely put this game in a dark closet, in hopes of having their efforts on projects that they think will make more money over being creative. As opposed to Adult Swim, sometimes things like this are inevitable, like taxes and death and waking up in a pandemic-torn world.